So we're here today with Jack Lewis, master gunsmith and gun maker. So Jack, where were you born?
Adams County.
And what brought you to Scioto County?
Well, we were living so close. When I was a young man, I used to work with different people, farmers around the country.
Oh, neat. How did you become interested in making guns?
I bought my first gun when I was 12 years old. I was working for a fellow and he needed. I found it in a corn crib, no stock on it. I said to him, "What do you want for it?" He wanted $2. So I bought the gun and made a gun stock. That was my first introduced to becoming a gunsmith.
And how old were you?
Oh my God. I would say somewhere 12, 13.
Oh, that's so neat. Did you do that on your own or did someone teach you?
No, done it on my own.
Did anyone teach you or mentor you in your gun making?
Well, I learned under a German gunsmith in Cincinnati. Now, when I went to work down there, what I would do on my days off, I'd go to his shop and work, and I wouldn't take no money. I just wanted to learn to be a gunsmith. I worked with him quite a long time till he passed away. And after he passed away, then I went to work with another man who owned a gun shop in Norwood, which eventually I wound up buying that shop.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Lynn Lapthorne was the man I bought it from. It had been a gun shop since 1929.
And then do you remember your German friend's name?
Joe Lamping.
Joe Lamping.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're also an engineer. Where did you learn about engineering?
Cincinnati. I went to the school down there.
Are there any parts of the gun that you don't make by hand?
Well, today there are a certain amount of parts for antique guns that are not available, so the only thing you can do is take a piece of steel and go to the mill and make it. If you have a broken copy, you make it.
Wow. How long does it take you to make a typical gun from start to finish, like a pistol?
Oh, usually if I start on a Monday, I can be finished by Friday.
Oh, that's impressive.
Same way with the long rifle.
Really?
Yeah. I can make one in a week.
Wow. What level of precision is required to make a weapon that fires true to its target? How do you achieve this precision?
To do target pistols?
Yes.
Well, you have a certain amount of rifling that's in a barrel. Calibers has a lot to do with what you're going to do. You make sights that are adjustable, so you can usually sit down at a ranch and rest and shoot them until they come up with a one-hole group. Then you set the sights accordingly.
And have you any guns that were used in competitions?
That gun was.
So what kind of a competition?
Oh, usually we shoot just for targets to see who's the best shot. Yeah.
That's great. How much do the materials typically cost to make an average pistol?
The barrel is usually the most expensive thing. A short barrel for one of these, if you find them today, they're probably 30, 35 bucks. But the rest of the steel wouldn't be over half of that.
Oh, wow. What year did you buy the gun shop in Cincinnati? Do you remember?
Yeah, I bought that in 1964.
Oh, wow. Do you have influences in gun making or gun makers that inspire your work?
Well, I've taught several people to do gunsmithing, yes.
Oh, awesome.
As a matter of fact, the engraver you just saw, I taught him a lot of stuff. How to take them apart, put them back together, because you've got to do that if you're going to engrave them.
Oh, I bet, yeah. So what motivates you to continue gunsmithing?
I love the challenge.
Have you ever encountered any artist blocks or anything that stood in the way of your work?
No.
I love that answer. What have you learned any lessons over the years about your craft?
Well, when I had both the gun shop down there and here, I did warranty work for Winchester, Remington, Savage. Now, I had to go to their schooling once a year for whatever new models they had coming out. So you knew if something happened to that gun, what to do to it.
Oh, so that's kind of continuing education, huh?
That's right. They would teach you the fundamentals of the new model gun.
What kind of restoration work do you do?
Well, anything from making stocks to making parts for guns.
So if someone comes in with a gun with a broken barrel or a missing part, you're able to fix that?
Most of the time.
Oh, that's amazing. How did you get involved with making historic replicas for the Franklin Mint?
One of the men that I had known for a lot of years worked for Ithaca Gun Company. And he came to me one day and he said, "Jack, we want someone to make some prototype guns." I said, "Sure, I can do it." And then I started doing the guns for the Franklin Mint. All the guns they did, I made the prototypes.
Oh, wow.
Annie Oakley, John Wayne, Wild Bill Hickok, Bat Masterson. I did all of those guns.
That's great.
Franklin Mint replicas.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Prototypes, basically.
Tell us about your work as a ballistics expert.
Well, as you get into gunsmithing, you learn the ballistics of the value of whatever a cartridge is. And then you know about what the steel will stand. This is something you learn over the years of working out of engineering and things like that.
And then people recruited you as an expert witness?
I've done that a lot of times in Cincinnati, yes. Different judges would holler at me to come in and sit in on a case that had something to do with either a firearm misfiring or somebody getting shot with the gun.
Oh, wow. You have a busy schedule promoting your work around the country. Tell us about the type of events that you attend regularly.
Well, most of our events that we go to is Friendship, Indiana, at the National Muzzle and Rifle Association. We hold 2 big meets a year down there. The gun shows mostly that I make are Tulsa, Oklahoma. We hold 2 shows a year there. Then I have 2 shows in Baltimore, Maryland that I go. And that's I make about 6 or 8 big gun shows a year.
Wow, that's impressive. We know that you are a master artist, but you're also a collector. Tell us about your personal collection.
Well, I don't have the guns that I once had. At one time, I had 137 Winchesters in my personal collection.
Oh my gosh.
I collected everything from a Henry, like a rifle and carbine of everything they ever made. And a few years ago, I sold a lot of them. But Winchesters was my big, that and Colts. That's the 2 main pieces that I like.
And from what years, like, did you like the older models of the guns or any of?
Usually the older models was all steel. Today everything is being made with pot metal or some different metals that you can't work with.
Tell us a little bit about some of the awards that you've been given over the years for your craft.
Well, that's kind of a hard thing to do. Most of it is just word of mouth.
Excellent. What are some of the best known guns that you've ever worked on, or the clients that you've had?
Well, I would say some of the finest of guns that I've ever worked on has been Winchesters, like the Henrys, the 66s, 73s, 92s, 94s. These are all model Winchesters, all used by most of the cowboys over the world.
Wow.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to have you tell us some more stories, but I don't know.
Some of the famous people that you run into in your wanderings.
I've done a lot of work for a lot of musicians, Well, the gun show we hold in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we get an awful lot of movie stars. And sometimes they are kind of discreet. They don't want people to know who they are or what they're doing.
That makes sense.
But many of them come to me for gun parts, yes.
And then tell me about some of your family members that are involved with gun making and gunsmithing.
Just my son.
And then you showed me a picture earlier.
That was my great uncle. Now, he made these long rifles like this, the Kentucky long rifles.
Oh, that's so neat.
And that's all they made. A lot of them, how do I want to say it, they specialized maybe in one item. They didn't go into the thing in the categories like I did.
So you really took the craft and ran with it.
Well, when you get into the major gun companies, as I said, you have to go back to their school to learn some of the things. And they would usually once a year have that for us to do. If they had a new model coming out, you had to stock the parts and know what to do if something happened to the gun.
Wow, so much knowledge.
Not to mention that you've been doing it for 100 years.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of it comes from, is just many, many years
Yes.
of being a super fine craftsman, paying attention to detail for many, many, many years. I mean, that's...
Well, you get people from all over the world, and you get guns from all over the world to repair.
Yeah.
When I did Winchester and Remington, every day the UPS man was either dropping stuff and picking stuff up, you know. Yeah.
Is there anything else you would like to add about events in your career, or?
Well, I think that in my lifetime I've had a wonderful voyage to do all the things that I've done and to meet all the people that I've met.
For sure.
He and his wife used to go to rendezvous in the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
And both of them have wonderful, wonderful stories and memories, I think, of that. It's fair to say.
A lot of the rendezvous was very nice, yes. The one in Fort Bridger, Wyoming, we used to go there to that.
Yeah.
Where I've been right there at Jim Bridger's grave many times. Yeah, a lot of the old kind cowboys, you know.
Yeah, buddy. Good memories.
Yes, sir. Loved it all.
Well, the first time I went with him, we walked in Cowan Auction, Cincinnati, not far from downtown. And I mean, as we approached the door, I think there were 10 people that were trying to grab his attention. And they brought him in, and it was, "Mr. Lewis, we have a call from Italy for you. Mr. Lewis, we have a call from Switzerland for you. Mr. Lewis, we have a call from France for you.
Wow.
Mr. Lewis, we have a call from England for you." I mean, absolutely. And what the deal was is some of the guns that were being sold were very expensive guns. And people that have money sometimes, they're really picky. And they want to know exactly what they're getting and why. Or, you know, there's one expert in the house.
Yeah.
And every single person there that was buying any fancy gun there basically wanted his thumbs up on it before they bought it. I mean, he would
Well,
tell
I'm the
them.
same way today at a gun show.
Oh, I know.
I set up in Tulsa,
Oh,
Oklahoma.
I bet you're the #1 attraction there. And then I know
always bringing guns to you. Tell me what this is. Tell me, is it right? Or tell me I can pay this for it.
Friendship, Indiana, too. That's what everybody wants is this a good deal? I mean, that, you know, because they hope that this is a, you know, if I could buy this gun for $500, would that be a good deal? Because some people, in Jack may say, if you bought that for 50 grand, it might be a good deal, or, you know, but people don't know.
Well, that show we hold in Tulsa, we've got 4,000 tables in the hall. It's the largest gun show in the world.
What kind of questions do people come to you with?
Honey, that's a very difficult question, but they'll come to me and hand me a Colt or a Smith & Wesson. Has anything been replaced on this? Is it all original? Can I buy it for an original gun, or is it a piece of junk? So it's up to you to tell them, yeah, this is right or this is wrong.
And so you know all the answers. Yes.
Well, the amazing thing is there's not just 1 or 2 guns out there.
Oh.
And this boy can tell you about more guns than Carter's got little liver pills.
Sam Colt. Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, this is also great. Do you have any stories that you want to tell us or relate us about interesting things that happened along the way?
No.
Well, I feel really good about this. I think this will make a really nice.
Well, the best part is he's still doing it.
Right, I think that's really impressive. And he just does it because he loves it. Like, that's
right.
So great. Yeah, I thought that was a really good answer.
You know, you get a lot of friends, or meet a lot of friends when you get into this kind of stuff. Yeah, I got a couple fellows today coming from Missouri for me to look at guns for them.
Well, Jack, thank you so much for allowing us to display your work and for taking the time to